Morning sunshine in a hotel. Just like being on vacation. Aha! The phone. It's time to switch it on. I expect Vero's call any minute about the water analysis. If all goes well, I'll be back in Eger to have lunch in Hotel Senator. My notebook. I don't go an inch without it. I've jotted down a few things about Debrecen while strolling aimlessly on the streets. There are a few shopping receipts here, too. Oh, I had more coffee yesterday than on a hard working day. Somehow I didn't enjoy solitude this time.
Hi. Is it a bad time?
Not at all. I've been expecting your call. What time should I come to see you?
Jonathan, can you come right now?
Well, yes, of course, but why is it so urgent? Is everything all right?
Something terrible happened. Balazs has disappeared.
Disappeared? What do you mean?
He's gone. God knows where. He left a farewell letter.
I see. Did he say where he was going?
No. That letter makes me so worried. It looks as if... How could he do such a thing?
Look, I've told you this before. Legally, he's an adult, and he's free to go against your will. I'm sure he'll turn up soon.
No, he won't. This letter suggests he's been obsessed with something he may have discovered.
Why? What does he write?
Would you please read it for yourself? You're the investigator.
An investigator? Only if it's about history.
You're the only one who can help me find my brother. The police won't do anything.
Have you spoken to them?
Yes, they won't start a search within 24 hours. And all they could do is kindly advise him to go home. It's ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying. He's an adult.
Okay, if you don't want to help me, and let that foolhardy brother of mine get involved in some foul play which might even cost his life, just say so. But if you feel just a little empathy...
Okay, don't exaggerate. I'm on my way. You'll tell me everything, all right?
Okay, hurry. I'm waiting for you.
See you soon.
See you.
Well, it seems I'm not going to lunch in Hotel Senator today. Chocolate biscuits. For Vero. I hoped to take her out, but it didn't happen. It's partly my fault. I was to meet Paolo Galuzzi, the famous Da Vinci researcher, who arrived here to open the exhibition. I fixed the meeting with him for Sunday because I thought a young woman would love to go out Saturday. And so she would. But she had another engagement where I wasn't invited. So we had to forget about sightseeing together. Like a bad dream. Maybe I should have brought the biscuits after all. Hi. Any news?
News? None. No sign of Balazs, but I don't expect any. Here's the letter. Read it for yourself.
Right. I think Vero has a good reason to be worried, after all.
Well, this is self-explanatory.
What's self-explanatory?
That this was going to happen one day. Maybe he went after his girlfriend, to Germany.
I've thought of that too, but why today?
I know what upsets you. This sentence. I have discovered something, and if my suspicion is correct, you will be proud of me one day.
Yes.
This suggests that it wasn't only love that motivated him.
I've spoken to the girl. She doesn't know anything.
Or she won't tell you. Tell me about this Pani.
She's all right. I should have nothing against her. Only...
Only you're upset with her because she's out to get him, to influence him.
Maybe. But I don't think she was lying when she said she hadn't heard from him since yesterday. She said she'd call me immediately if he turns up.
Any idea what Balazs discovered?
No. But it's true that he was busy with something in the past weeks or so. Never looked bored. No endless Skype chats like before. And he was reading a lot, went to the library often, and searched the net all day.
What topics did he search? Atomkian physics, perhaps?
No idea, I'm afraid. Unless... I happened to see an old book he took from the library. It was titled Hungarian Mineralogy, or the Science of Minerals and Ores. A really old one, from 1791.
Strange. I wonder where he's got it from.
Sometimes he borrowed books from our scientists, but he often went to some library too.
Rather odd, by all means. What did Balazs take with him?
That's just it. Hardly anything. Only his small backpack is missing.
What about his passport?
It was in the backpack, so he took it. But as I said, it's expired.
Yes, and you also said he'd been incapable of having it extended. Okay, go on.
Then I don't find some books he's recently acquired. And his cell phone's gone too. And it's switched off, of course. I've tried to call him at least 50 times since this morning.
Any money?
He's got a bank card. Dad transfers money to him now and then. I don't know how much was on it, because I've been paying everything since he's been here with me.
Quite a handsome amount of money could be on that card, then. When did you last see your brother? Yesterday evening?
Yes, of course. He came home late, but we didn't talk much. And he wasn't there when I got up at 6:30 in the morning. Only that letter was on his bed.
Where was he Sunday evening?
Well, who knows? He said he was going to meet a teacher in the... Yes, in the Reformed College.
On Sunday? Oh, well, why not?
He'd been out in the morning too, but didn't say where. And on Saturday we were at that party together. You remember I've told you about it?
Ha! The party you didn't want me to come with you. Don't you think you should tell me more about it now?
It's not so simple. But nothing to do with Balazs.
You tell me as much as you wish.
Okay. For me and my brother, this party was an obligation. Mr. Lehosky, the director, was invited, and he'd been coaxing me to go with him. First, I refused, as I had no intention to appear there as a mistress of the elderly director. But he asked me so kindly, so I said okay, if Balazs could come too.
I guess Balazs was not fond of the idea.
He wasn't. Actually, that's why he was in such a bad mood when you arrived on Friday.
I see. So eventually he went too.
Yes, but he behaved awfully. Stood aside all along, and then tried to annoy me, saying he was drunk. I felt like slapping him around. Meanwhile, Peter took me arm in arm and introduced me to people as the pride of our institute.
I assume you didn't stay long.
But we did. It was more relaxed towards the end. Even Balazs had a talk with the host and his doctor. And there was a middle-aged woman whom he had a few words with. And I also had the chance to chat with some people.
Where was the party held?
At the mansion of a stuck-up guy called Egon Palos. It's not far from Atomki. You should have seen that luxury.
What do you know about Palos?
Never met him before. A stout businessman smelling horribly of perfume. He's grown so fat because of selenium deficiency, so they say. Imagine, he announced at the party that this was his last birthday as he was going to die soon. It was a bizarre performance.
It must have been. And what does he do?
I'm not sure. He used to live in China for a long time, made his money there. Then he moved back when his disease was discovered, because he trusted European medicine better.
But the therapy doesn't seem to help, does it?
For some time now, he's turned to alternative medicine. His physician, some Droshkovich or something, stays there with him and gives him treatment every day. Could be just rumour, of course.
How are you getting along with the director of Otomki?
With Peter? Well, I really don't know.
Complicated?
Oh, no. There's nothing between us. He's over 60.
This doesn't mean a thing. Apparently, he's fond of you.
Yes, I do feel it. But I just look up to him, that's all.
And encourage him.
I don't mean to. He's like an uncle who takes care of me, and this is how I behave.
Yes, and not as a physicist of the Institute. Did Balazs get along well with your colleagues?
Certainly. Everyone liked him, although he'd been hanging around them a lot. Sometimes they call him Brainiac Boy, as Balazs likes to be clever without being asked. But everyone knows he's got superb brains. He loves exploring and discovering things.
It might be the case now.
Maybe I don't know him well enough, though. You should ask those people he knew well in the Institute. They might know something.
Good idea. But it won't be so easy.
It will be. I'm afraid I don't have the time to show you around, but I've already sent out a circular mail to let them know about your visit. They are ready to assist.
A remarkable providence. But where do I...
Here, this is a map of the Institute with laboratories. And if you get stuck, I'm always here to help.
Well, all right. Excuse me for being a bit down to earth, but is there any news about the water sample?
Oops, I almost forgot about it. The quick test didn't lead to a clear result, so they're trying another method now. It'll be ready today, so they promised.
Thank you. And don't worry, your brother will be found. This is what I can promise.
Like in a submarine, I swear. Yes, this guy must be Dr. Laszlo Kekashi.
Good morning.
Good morning. What can I do for you?
Are you Dr. Kekashi?
In the flesh. And who are you?
Name's Jonathan Hunt. Have you received Miss Gall's letter?
I have no time for reading letters, Mr. Hunt. I'm on the clock. And when it's work time, I only have time for work. But tell me, what was in that letter?
Miss Gall's younger brother disappeared this morning.
Disappeared? You mean vanished under a spell?
I rather think he's just run off. He left a farewell letter, but his sister is terribly worried. She asked me to find him.
Asked you? Why? Are you a detective?
No, but I promised to help her. So she wrote to her colleagues asking them to assist with the investigation and answer my questions.
Well then, if that's the case, work time is suspended. Interrogation time starts. But please keep it short.
When did you last see Balazs?
He was here last week, and came to my house yesterday to return a book I had lent him.
So you lent him a book? May I ask what book it was?
A book on astronomy. What else? I only get visitors who want to know about the work or about the world of galaxies.
So he was interested in the world of galaxies.
Meteorites, to be precise.
That's curious. I don't think his sister knew about this.
He's a genuine teenager, you see. You are one, too. Young men have their secrets to hide.
Did he tell you about any secret of his?
Not much. But when he heard astronomy was my hobby, He asked about meteorites. But I'm not a good talker, you see, so I gave him books on asteroids, comets, and so on.
I see. Do you have any idea why he was interested in all these?
No idea. I couldn't even tell you why I myself was interested in it.
Mr. Kakashi, what are your impressions about Vero?
Pretty little chick. The apple of the director's eye. Respectful girl and a good expert. Her father and mother have a scientific reputation, so I assume that children have good brains too. Balazs is also a bright kid.
What a dangerous place this must be. You can only look through a thick glass. It's peculiar to see past and future side by side like this. Neat haircut and beard, untidy desk and chaotic instruments. The same contrast as in the lab itself.
Good morning.
Ah, good morning. You must be Jonathan Hunt.
And you are Mr. Brown, if I'm not mistaken.
Dr. Ernu Brown, at your service.
Mr. Brown, what can you tell me about Balazs Gal, Vero's brother? When did you last see him?
I've heard he's disappeared. How awful. I really don't understand. I spoke to the boy on Friday. He seemed quite as usual. He stormed into my lab and started to browse through my bookshelf. Sometimes he would very humbly ask to borrow some books, you know. I'm pleased to lend to anybody. They just have to enter it in my notebook.
What was he interested in?
Some of the books here are technical manuals, but what I collect mostly is literature on archaeology. A passion of mine, you know. And there's more, like popular science. I love it.
Do you remember what books Balazs has taken?
Oh, no need to remember. It's in the notebook.
Mr. Brown, what do you think of Balazs?
Just call me Ernu, will you? And I'll call you Jonathan, if you don't mind.
Not at all, Ernu. So, could you describe the boy for me?
A wonderful child, very smart. Some people call him Brainiac Boy, and he's so cheerful, has a desire for knowledge. He'll achieve great things, like his parents.
Did you see him often?
Not really. Sometimes he came to the lab, not only for books. He asked me lots of questions about our work, but otherwise we rarely came across each other, just waved at each other in the courtyard.
What do you think of Vero?
Oh, she's a lovely but sharp-tongued young lady. Don't you think so, Jonathan? Quick-witted and talks as quickly. Occasionally she might say things that sound a bit offensive, but she doesn't mean it. Her intentions are noble. Do you know if she's married?
No, she isn't.
For the time being, I assume.
You have an incredible collection of books.
Great, isn't it? I live in a tiny apartment where there's no room for my library. But Mr. Laotsky very kindly allowed me to keep them here. I'm so grateful to him.
This machine is really impressive. Looks like an electronic forest.
Do you want me to explain how it works? Listen. Have you heard of plasma, the fourth fundamental state of matter?
Oh, yes, I think so. Aren't the sun and the stars made of plasma?
Absolutely. Plasma is a state of material when it's no longer composed of atoms or molecules, but of the parts of the atoms, electrons and ions. We create plasma with this instrument here, working with strong magnets and microwaves.
In other words, this apparatus is some kind of microwave oven. Can you heat something with it?
Yes, And by heating, we can convert almost any material to plasma state. We usually work with noble gases and study the plasma with a wide range of instruments. The plasmas are really beautiful. Our equipment owns 6 magnets. Therefore, the plasmas we create look like gorgeous 6-branched stars.
Great. I think I already know more about your forest. Thanks, Ernu.
My pleasure. I hope I didn't bore you, Jonathan.
Ernu, I think something's wrong in this notebook.
How come? What is it, Jonathan?
It says that Bolage had taken books like Winnie the Pooh, Tales of Mother Goose, Peter and Wendy. These don't seem like archaeological works to me.
Oh, that little rascal. He played tricks on me. I don't always check that notebook, you know. But anyhow, I have no reason to be cross with him. He had always returned everything.
I just wonder what the boy wanted to conceal.
Come on. He's only a child. Just plays jokes, that's all.
Morning. Are you the American?
You mean me? I'm Jonathan Hunt.
Joseph Dinsey. I'm the caretaker. And the night guard. In shifts, you know.
Glad to meet you. Mr. Vince, have you seen Bolage lately? You know, the younger brother of Vero who moved in here for a few weeks.
I have. I've seen him often here and there, but not today.
Understandable. He's disappeared.
What the hell you say? Was he kidnapped or what?
We don't know. This is why I ask if anyone has seen him these days.
Well, I did see him, but I can't say when. He'd been stuck on those turtles, you know. They're said to be immortal. Did you know that?
What do you mean, immortal?
There's a legend here that Professor Zalai gave them some panacea. Fancy that. Ha.
I guess they only mean that turtles have a long life. Is it you who takes care of them?
Yeah, but I got to, you know. I don't really like them, though, but they recognize me.
The Little Museum of Nuclear Research. A collection of relics from the life of Professor Soloy. Dr. Peter Lehotsky, director. He and Vero seem to be on good terms. Where am I? Is this a data center or a recording studio? Is he a scientist too? I wonder.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Hunt.
Hello. So you're the guy who's after Brainiac Boy, aren't you? I'm Changor Fekete.
Doctor, I assume.
Nope. I'm only a petty system administrator. Or, if you like, the doctor of the doctor's computer up there. What can I do for you?
You could tell me when you last saw Balaj, what he was doing, these kinds of things.
Snooping, that's what he was doing, I tell you. He knew everyone, talked to everyone, stuck his nose in everything. If you ask me, he'd been up to something.
Up to something?
In the last 2 weeks, he'd been in a hustle. We never had any trouble with each other, though, just some of us found this a bit strange.
Nobody has complained about him so far.
Sure. Any talking about him could easily get to the ears of the director. That's because of Vera. You know, there's been some rumor recently. Otherwise, she's a hot babe, but I don't have a thing about those who make a pass at the boss, if you know what I mean. I don't mind telling you if you want the truth.
I have first-hand information that the supposed liaison between the director and the girl is unfounded.
Well, don't bet on that.
What an amazing place.
This is my cave with the supercomputer. Not super-sized, but super fast. It's because many desktop computers are connected in a smart way. They generate a lot of heat. We need strong cooling. I enjoy this low temperature. Of course, the fans are loud, but I use my headsets.
And you just oversee things here?
Yeah, it's not too stressful unless we hit a snag. But that seldom happens, so it's rather a kind of vacation.
Rather a kind of making music, isn't it?
Spot on. This is why I like Lehetsky. I only asked once, and he'd let me bring in my music stuff. I've written some 50 songs here.
50 songs? That's enough for 2 albums.
You must be joking. Who buys CDs today? Chongor, the system administrator, earns the money. The musician can only spend it.
Is this a Gibson? I'm not an expert. Without these gloomy-looking machines, I'd feel like I was in a preschool. A smiling face. He doesn't look devilish at all.
Good morning. My name is Jonathan Hunt.
Hey, Jonathan. Nice to meet you. Gula Varesh. Saw you on television.
Did you?
So glad you came here. I mean, not really glad, as it's so sad Balaj has run away. How reckless!
Can I ask you some questions?
Well, of course, my friend. Go ahead.
When did you last see Balaj?
Wow, I feel being part of a crime movie. Well, I think it was Thursday or Friday. End of last week. No, it wasn't the weekend, as I'm with my family then. I've got 3 sons, my friend, and a daughter.
That's nice. So on Thursday or Friday, where and when?
I ran into him in the afternoon. I think he was coming from the cafeteria. And yes, that charming sister of his was with him. They weren't in a good mood, though.
What is he like, this Balaj?
Haven't you met? Oh, handsome guy, intelligent face, kind of dark hair, and...
We did. I want to know what you think about him.
He's a nice guy. Open-minded, friendly, polite, doesn't really understand jokes, though. You know, we joke a great deal with my kids, and...
Yes. Have you noticed any change in his behavior lately?
Whose behavior? Balaj. Maybe he came here less frequently. Carrying a book all the time. He was learning, maybe. Don't you think so?
What do you think about Vero?
Oh, you've got to be kidding. I have a wife and children.
That's not what I mean. What's your opinion about her as a person?
A frightfully agile, vigorous girl. Or from a professional point of view, you mean? Well, everyone has to be highly skilled to get a job in this institute.
I see. How does she get along with others?
I believe everyone likes her. She's a bit too quick and straightforward, but I don't mind. I can only say positive things, like the way she takes care of her younger brother. She'll make a good mother, at least if she learns a bit more about self-sacrifice.
Could you tell me something about this lab?
Oh, sure thing! I've already explained it to my boys, and they understand everything. They were so cute listening to my story.
And the lab?
Oh, of course. Now, this is the Materials Science Laboratory. With all this gleaming equipment, we can identify the chemical composition of an object in a non-destructive way, or we can define what layers these chemical elements form in a sample, even if the layers are measured on a nanometer scale. However, for this, we have to destruct the sample a bit.
You mean you could tell how many and what kind of paint layers are there on a Da Vinci painting?
I'm afraid not, as my instrument works with small-size samples only.
Which means you'd need to damage the painting? Otherwise, you could investigate the composition, but not the layers. Is that right?
Exactly!
You have a cozy workplace.
Oh, yes, thank you. Our director, Mr. Lahotsky, has been very liberal about this. For me, my family means everything. I gain energy from these things to focus on my work.
Do you have a hobby or a passion?
Passion? My family is my passion. With 4 children, you have little chance to have hobbies. You'll see it for yourself. Hurry up, my friend. Having children is the best thing in the world.
I will. Certainly.
Looks like some infernal machine.